Just say your first and last name.
My name is David Betras. Spelling is B as in Baker, E as in Echo, T as in Tom, R as in Ralph, A as in Alpha, S as in Sam. There are so many troubling aspects to this case that I hardly know where to begin. First and foremost, this incident represents the weaponization of law enforcement for political purposes, something that is both wrong and dangerous. The conduct of the Cleveland Heights Police Department and Chief Christopher Britton were deliberately designed to intimidate and harass Ms. McDaniel. While it should come as no surprise, given the acrimonious nature of the recent interactions between Ms. McDaniels and police, their behavior was unconscionable and inexcusable. At the very least, as soon as they recognized Ms. McDaniels, they needed to stand down and call another law enforcement agency to investigate this matter. There was no emergency, no need to proceed as if one existed. The police officers on the scene, including Chief Britton, knew who she was, where she lived, and how to contact her if necessary. Second, the body cam footage clearly shows this Ms. McDaniel should not have been detained and questioned for 2 hours. She was totally cooperative with the officers throughout the incident and explained what happened. But from the outset, officers ignored what she said and accused her of without evidence of walking into someone's house down there. It's on video, and I have it here where it's on the body cam. One of the officers also speculated that Ms. Daniels entered the property in question because there was a sign supporting the recall of her spouse, Cleveland Heights Mayor Khalil Serene, although there's absolutely no evidence to support that claim. At 11:55 a.m., police officers confiscated Ms. Daniels' phone because they wanted her to prevent her from manipulating her phone because there could be evidence of a crime recorded on it. There's no probable cause for the seizure, and if police did believe it included incriminating evidence was recorded on it, the proper thing to do was apply for and obtain a search warrant, which to date they have not done. I also note that if Ms. McDaniel's phone had been returned to her at the scene, it would have been easy for law enforcement to determine if information had been erased if they obtained a warrant. With this ECI, which is electronically stored information, they could have easily determined whether or not she erased any information off of her phone. Ms. McDaniel adamantly denies the allegations made against her, and I will vigorously defend her, especially because the evidence obtained from the ring camera may have been edited or altered. But aside from these charges, every citizen in Cleveland Heights, Ohio knows, and this nation should be deeply concerned by this example of police overreach. No one should have their rights trampled simply because they are involved in a political or ideological dispute or disagreement with law enforcement. So in this instance, along with defending a client who's been charged with crimes she did not commit, I am defending the constitutional rights of all Americans. First of all, I want to make it clear that the Cuyahoga Prosecutor's Office played no role in the investigation that resulted in Ms. McDaniels' indictment. They simply dealt with the product of a deeply flawed and totally biased inquiry perpetrated by the Cleveland Heights Police Department. I'll take any questions you have.
Now, Cleveland Heights told us that they turned this over to the prosecutor.
After 2.5 hours of investigation, after detaining her for 2.5 hours, and after reading her Miranda rights, and after the chief of police showing up on scene to personally investigate this matter, that's when they turned it over. They knew who she was. They knew where she lived. They should have said to her, don't touch your phone, and we'll have someone else investigate it. That's not what they did. This is trying to influence that recall election that's coming up in September. That's 100% what this is.
And where do you get the allegation where that they might have edited that ring video?
So if you look on ring video, they record longer than they gave you, and it's easy for them to clip and snip. We want the entire ring camera video.
So if you actually watch the body camera video, the chief shows up at the very end and says, we're going to turn this over to the outside.
After 2.5 hours. He knew
he wasn't there, though.
He knew.
He didn't personally investigate it. He showed up and said, we're going to turn this over.
Okay.
And that's all he did.
The chief of police should have said to his officers, that's the mayor's wife. We know where she is. She's a block from our house. We're going to call someone in individually. You don't think he was contacted right away? He was contacted right away. He knew. They even told her Chris is coming down. What did Chris have to come down to do? What did the chief of police have to come down and do anything? These police officers knew who she was, knew where she lived. They were asking for her identification. They held her 2.5 hours, and they read her Miranda rights. When you read someone their Miranda rights, That means you have them in custody. You are doing a custodial interrogation. There is no need for that by this police department, who is in the middle and has an acrimonious relationship with the mayor's wife. People have criticized the mayor's wife. She provides political advice to her husband. She's allowed to do that. The mayor is allowed to get political advice from whom he chooses. The voters chose him to be the first mayor, and this is nothing more than them using their power to politicize this process. There was no crime committed here, and we're going to go to court on this, and we're going to vindicate her. Not only is she innocent, she's wrongly accused.
So the mayor has come out and said on the body camera, and I think Natalie as well said this, and in a press conference afterwards, that the police had no conflict of interest. They shouldn't have turned this over. So you're saying that was incorrect? That
was incorrect. They should have absolutely turned this over. I've told the mayor to stay out of this investigation, to have no further involvement with it, not to talk to any prosecutors, not to talk to any police officers, not to be anywhere around this case. They have a lawyer, and I'll be investigating this and doing it properly. Look, if you know Cleveland Heights, you know there's been an acrimonious relationship between the police department and the mayor, and that's the very same police department that held her for 2.5 hours, read her Miranda rights, and confiscated her phone. No need to confiscate her phone. They could have simply said, don't erase anything off that phone. With the electronics they have now in Cellbrite, they could tell if she erased anything off the phone. They confiscated her phone right there on the scene. This is purely for intimidation purposes.
Now, the homeowners have reached out and said that they feel that they've been treated wrongly and that they have been uncomfortable since this happened. The mayor's spreading rumors about them that are not true and that they didn't.
I don't know what rumors the mayor is spreading.
That they didn't redact any video.
Well, we're going to find that out. I want to get the whole Ring camera video. It is our position that the Ring camera video has a lot more seconds on it than what they showed the police. And that's what we're going to ask for. She was in the house all of seconds. And so
she was in the house.
She stepped right in the doorway. The door is a big steel door, and it just opened. She was looking for a contractor. She saw the bin outside. She had no idea someone was actually living in the house at the time. Had no idea.
But once you set foot in somebody's property, once you enter that doorway, isn't there probable cause of that trespassing? So it's not really a false charge, is it?
It's a false charge in that she did not knowingly trespass into a habitable structure. The minute she walked in, she said, hello, hello, hello. She looked for, she saw sandals and she bolted and she left. And when they originally pulled her over, she thought she was in harm's way because someone was following her. The homeowner was following her. Look, I'm going to call this what it is. If this was investigated by an independent agency, I don't know if we'd be standing here. But it was investigated by the Cleveland Heights Police Department, who obviously doesn't like things the mayor has done. And so they went after her, and this is a political prosecution. They weaponized this process.
But the homeowner called 911, so obviously and I don't know who pressed, can you tell me who pressed charges?
The homeowner saw the Ring camera video, saw what happened, and called police. The police pulled her over, knew it was the mayor's wife. At that point, they should have said, look, we know where you live. They were asking for her ID. They knew who she was. She said, I have my ID on me. You know where I live. I live right around the corner. They should have immediately called some other police agency to investigate this. Instead, they conducted a 2.5-hour investigation, read her Miranda rights. You never read anyone Miranda rights unless they're in custody. So a period of that time, she was technically in the custody of the Cleveland Heights Police Department. And I'm saying they knew who she was, they knew where she lived, and they could have told her, don't touch your phone. We're going to have the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office investigate this. They didn't do that. And that's what we're critical of.
You said habitable structure. Regardless if she doesn't own that property, she's still trespassing, because it's not her property, whether or not somebody's living there or not.
You have to look at what her intent was. Her intent was she thought the home was being remodeled. She was looking for a contractor. The minute she went in the doorway, saw sandals there, she left. In there, literally seconds.
Why was she taking photographs of the signs outside the house?
The signs?
Yeah.
I don't know. She probably wanted to see. She was wondering why a sign was there because she thought no one was living there.
Did you talk to her about that, or did you just?
I'm not going to discuss anything I've just talked with my client about.
Okay.
Anything